Hi, this is Fern GZ Carr, website www.ferngzcar.com. Welcome to my Facebook Live reading, Family, Water, Part 1, Family. So here we go. All right, if you've just tuned in, my name is Fern GZ Carr. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you here today on Facebook Live. I welcome you. I thank you for tuning in. I would like to be very sure to thank the Canada Council for the Arts and the League of Canadian Poets for their support. I would also like to thank Meta for providing this opportunity for me to use Facebook Live. So, as I've mentioned at all my readings, I'm very much used to doing in-person readings where I have someone to introduce me, but here it's me, so I will give you a bit of information about myself, and if you decide you want to have any more information, I would invite you to check out my Wikipedia page. You just go to Wikipedia, Fern GZ Carr. My website is www.ferngzcar.com. I have a YouTube channel. You can watch some of my videos there. That's also under Fern GZ Carr. So I'm a full member of the League of Canadian Poets and a member of the Federation of BC Writers. I write and translate my poetry in 6 languages, but the readings today are going to be in English. My poetry collection, Shards of Crystal, is published by Silverbow Publishing. And I've been published approximately 700 times worldwide, and I'm grateful for the honors I've received, but my most humbling honor is to have one of my poems in permanent orbit aboard NASA's MAVEN spacecraft orbiting the planet Mars. Okay, so if this is your first time, I'll explain the format briefly. This is my 3rd out of 4 themed poetry readings, and I present them every Saturday in May, and I do 2 themes per reading. So today's themes are going to be family and water. And I'll read for about 20 minutes or so, and then please, if you have any questions or comments, just type them in the comments section, and I would be happy to answer them after I finish my reading. So theme number 1, family. So, you can define family in many different ways, but basically family could be defined as those near and dear to us. But that said, I would like to dedicate this segment to my mother. Okay, ghosts. I originally wrote this as a visual poem, and I call it a negative space poem because what I did was I had the text of the poem in the shape of a square, but I left a blank space in the middle, but I shaped that blank space in the shape of a ghost, and then I drew some mournful eyes and a mouth. And this is a poem, it's a nostalgic poem about family. Ghosts. On a nostalgic whim, we exhumed the family album, only to discover a haunted house, every page inhabited by ghosts of lives that once were, their existence reduced to snapshots in time. Willful poltergeists smothering pudgy cheeks with slurpy kisses and impossible to remove lipstick marks. Come sit on my knee, who's your favorite auntie? Playful apparitions hovering among the pages. Got your nose, come here, pinch cheeks. And the children's favorites, the patron spirits, grandparents who loved to spoil them silly with spare change and penny candy when they thought no one was watching. Too many pages are inhabited by phantoms. Their legacy, fond reminiscences of idiosyncrasies and kindness. Like them, we too will become shadows, our unfamiliar images haunting the yellow pages of someone else's dust-covered album. In my next poem, you always think of your parents as being older than you. We don't often think about them in their youth. And this is a poem that addresses that. It's called My Father's Fingers. The dirty 30s, 2 rough and tumble brothers, chop, chop, chopped wood, their every breath a ghost in the winter air, as they chop, chop, chopped wood for a home warmed by 12 children, not coal, a home reduced to 10 by the mathematics of loss, scars of many variants, running deep and sharp, especially for the brother who steadied a log on a misshapen stump of a tree, a split second before the eager blade of an axe left its bloody wake of severed fingers, 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 and a misshapen stump of a hand. Well, another consideration, children don't always think about the impact of their parents' work on the family, and that's the subject of lottery ticket. Bash, crash, crash, bash. Who's pounding on the door? The door to our suite, adjoining my parents' corner grocery store in the west end of town. I did it! I got it! I won! Who's banging on our door so late? Go away, store's closed. But my ticket, my money. Store's closed, come back tomorrow. When the store opened in the morning, a frantic customer burst in. Sorry about yesterday. You must have thought I was crazy. But I won. I won the 100 grand. And you handed me the winning ticket. Simultaneously, my mother and father turned their heads to gape at each other with a look bordering on tears. The customer's winning ticket was the last one they sold before buying the rest for themselves. That small piece of paper represented their ticket to freedom. Freedom from working 12 hours a day at a job they detested, a job that barely allowed them to eke out a living for their family. $100,000 was within their grasp, and my mother handed it over with a smile to a complete stranger. Well, it's natural for children to grow up and set out on their own, and it's usually a bit of an adjustment for their parents, and it's easier for some than for others. Empty nest. No wet towels on the bathroom floor. Bed still made, unrumpled. A few stray clothes left hanging in the closet, not tossed on the carpet. No dirty dishes on the kitchen counter or in the sink. None of his friends coming to visit. Lots of food in the fridge. Quiet. I miss him. Well, it's said that the worst experience is for a parent to lose a child. And it made me wonder about the psychological effects on a family where one identical twin passes away. Twin. Identical twins, ginger-haired, freckled, a twinkle in their eyes as they each pretend to be the other, two halves of a whole. One half stalked by leukemia, purple bruises creeping leopard-like over his body, snarling as they drag their kill away. Vigilant, his brother watches and waits for his turn. It never comes, burying him in guilt every time he passes a mirror, a living reflection of the child his parents lost. I purposely wrote this next poem as a rhyming poem. It's to be in keeping with the sing-song nature of childhood, and I wrote it for my son. Past the moon and the stars. I love you past the moon and the stars, my son would always say. And to my son I always replied, I love you more each day. Adoring eyes upturned to Dad said, I want to be just like you. His father smiled gently and secretly hoped for this wish to come true. That is the gift a child gives his parents. Their essence will live on, a twinkle of immortality long after we are gone. We gaze at our child and pray in our hearts that he will be content. Yet as we let our fledgling fly, we worry how his life will be spent. There always exists an instinctive need to protect him from harm at all costs. But as parents, we must rather ensure independence is not lost. Our desire is that our family bond be precious and withstand life's scars, so that our love will forever shine past the moon and the stars. Acknowledgements. All poems contained herein copyright Fern G. Z. Carr. Part 1 is an excerpt from the original full video, which was kindly sponsored by the League of Canadian Poets and the Canada Council for the Arts. Thanks very much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like, and please be sure to subscribe. For more poetry, my book Shards of Crystal is available on Amazon. Thanks again, and stay tuned for a new video every Wednesday.